Hey guys, it's Elon from Inside Fighting, and once again, in for an amazing treat. Here with Sensei Shane at Gold Tiger, and today we're gonna be doing something different. Kenjitsu. With two swords?
Two swords.
Oh man.
Pow, pow. Inside fighting, yeah. Dangerous martial arts. Pow, pow. Ooh, ah.
As you guys know, I've suffered from autoimmune disease. I've suffered from severe injuries. I was told I'd never walk again. That's what led me and my buddy on this journey to create a wonderful functional collagen for men, for athletes. If you're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if you're running, if you're into any martial art, it's crazy to not be using this. It really helps support your bones, your joints, and your connective tissue. I always explain that what's important is the amino acid profile, which you need large amounts of glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, and you need a low molecular weight so your body can use it. I've become an expert at this stuff. It's made a tremendous difference in my own body, and it's made a tremendous difference for every single person who's using it now. NoManLabs.com is the company. It's called No Man, like K-N-O-W, knowing man. So NoManLabs.com. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Thanks so much.
Totally fascinated by Kenjitsu. I gotta be honest with you. I have a background in Filipino martial arts, so we use machetes and like kind of weapons like that. I have no experience with this, so I'm very much looking forward to this.
Right on. Well, Kenjitsu is pretty much like an old school word for sword fighting, right? Kenjitsu's been around in Japanese culture for centuries. The style of Kenjitsu that I practice, it's called Niten Ichi-ryū, which was developed by Miyamoto Musashi, who wrote the Book of Five Rings, also known as Gorin no Sho. He wrote the...
It's my tattoo right there.
Oh,
Vagabond.
Oh, that's actually a great
manga.
series. Yep. Great series. As well as, Dokoro and everything like that. Known for winning 60 duels, coming out unscathed, as well as the duel he had on Ganryu Island with Sasaki Kojuro. A lot of things like that. So he developed this style in the 17th century, they say between 1604 and 1640. And it was based off of his duels, but him just, introspecting and looking back at how was I able to win? Did I really understand strategy and everything like that? So the practice that we do is to study the strategy of Musashi Sensei as laid out in the Book of Five Rings and the different seihos, or you can call them forms, and practicing with each other, as well as, exploring that outside of Kenjitsu. A lot of our members, they do things other than this. They'll do boxing. Some will do historical European martial arts, fencing, as well as myself, karate, things like that. So we'll use some of the principles from there in our other martial arts.
Did you find that the skills you're learning here translate to other systems and other things you do in life?
Yes. I fully believe that if you do learn a weapon art, you learn an extended form of range, right? When we're just using our hands, we know, okay, this is my range. This is how far I can go. But when you have something that allows you to extend, whether you're thrusting or just hitting, you get an understanding of the different range that you can use in regards to confrontation. Like personally for myself, a couple of years back, I got into an altercation with someone on the street. It was late at night. And because I was just looking at their body and seeing their awareness, I knew that they had a weapon on them. And based off of the training, I was able to maintain the right distance because they did try to hit me, but they were unsuccessful. And it ended up with them just saying, you know what, I don't want to stick around. And
It's the best outcome possible.
Yeah, so it was a really great outcome in regards to that. So I believe that the weapons training helped me to be able to identify from their posture, they had a weapon, they were ready to use it, engage them so that they would, reveal what the weapon is, and then do my best to just stay out of that range or just neutralize them fully in that sense.
Was it a rocket launcher?
Unfortunately not.
I got one more question for you before we jump into some technique.
Right on.
How is this, because I see a lot of kendo schools.
Yes.
I never see Kenjitsu schools. What is the difference and why? Because I guess kendo's a sport. That's why you see more of it.
Yeah. So kendo is a sport, but kendo is also something that has been around for a very, very long time. The difference between Kenjitsu and Kendo is Kendo, because they have rules and regulations and you work within the specific code. It's not really the same as Kenjitsu, whereas Kenjitsu, you're studying the strategy of a duel, and it's not about scoring the point. It's about walking away with your life, potentially ending the other person's life. If not ending them, then you maim them severely so that they don't want to continue with this altercation.
That makes sense. I just got to give a quick shout out to my dad over there. This is the first video that he's wanted. He said, I want to come watch. So it's also a kudos to you and the style, because you actually got super excited on this one.
Awesome.
All right, let's jump into some cool stuff.
All right, so we're starting off with the two swords. Normally in the system, you learn the long sword first, then you learn the short sword, and then we go to the two sword. The reason why is so that you get an understanding of the range and the weight of the different weapons you're using. The first one you're learning with the long sword, different interactions in regards to entering, parrying, striking, shifting off the line, striking, setting a position to be able to bait and trap, little things like that. When you're coming to the short sword, you're getting more in range. And to be that honest, you could look at training the short sword as working the jujitsu of Niten Ichi-ryū, because you have to be in close range, and a lot of the seihos requires you to have some kind of body contact on the person so that you can stabilize them and keep them there so that you could do what the final move is, which is either a thrust or a cut or something like that.
Could we see what the differences look like a little bit? Or?
Yeah, for sure. So a long sword, right?
Should I put mine down?
Yeah, you can put that down, right? So if we're here, right, and you just come up saying you wanted to just cut straight forward, right? Something we would do is stay out of range just to be able to come out and just do like a strike just like that, right? As well as in regards to working with the short sword, the long sword, we also use it to get a good measurement in regards to what we need to be able to cover distance, right? So if you were to just like cut, right? Yep, all the way, right? We know that, okay, this is where I need to be in regards to being in a safe zone. And from here, if I want to be able to, do a counter strike, I can come in from here, give myself enough distance and ensure that I'm using the correct area of the tool for my response.
Okay, so this one is really about managing distance, like you said. I could feel that right away. Kind of staying out of the path of the other weapon.
Yes.
So a lot of evasive diagonal. These kind of diagonal steps are a very Filipino principle.
And that's what I was going to go to. I find that with working the long sword, you work a lot of footwork, right? And in Filipino eskrima or Kali, you know, you have your V step and everything like that. And it's also similar that I find to boxing.
100%.
So that's the thing that I really enjoyed. And even when I spoke with my sensei about that, when I told, this was years ago, because I did some amateur boxing. And he was like, boxing? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, to reinforce the footwork of the Tachi Seiho. And he's like, oh, okay. Very interesting. But I did find that working the longsword forms reinforces footwork, angling, knowing how to redirect, and understanding posture, right? Like, if we put this down, right? And if you were here and you, like, let's say you threw your jab, right? And I move off the line, if I'm weak, it still comes in, right? But if we're here and you jab and I'm strong, I'm able to hold this position, right? And just be strong here. So I found that with working the longsword, like I said, you're working footwork, you're working structure and positioning, and your distance. So
I completely see the crossover into again. Same diagonal footwork. It's very similar again to Filipino martial arts. The approach with the weapon, if we're doing a block, is the same with the hand.
Yes.
So it's interesting. How about the short sword?
Short sword. So for the short sword, what's interesting with the short sword is you do short sword against a long sword. All right.
Okay.
For Niten, you do long sword against long sword, short sword against long sword, two swords against long sword, so your long and short sword. And then at the higher levels, you learn the bow, where it's bow against a long sword, bow against bow. And then the next one is learning the jute, which is all about like disarming and grappling.
Is that a small staff, like kind of thing?
So the jute, it's a truncheon. It'd be probably about like this in length. And it's actually the original style that Musashi had learned from his father before he had gone and developed his two-sword style.
And it's sharp, or it's
No, it's so pretty much it would have like a fork coming out and just pretty much just a long end.
okay.
Yeah.
It's like an extendable baton by today's day.
Not as long. It would be about this big.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an interesting
And
weapon.
everything. So I'm hoping that one day I get to learn it, but I'm still practicing everything else.
Sweet.
But yeah, so in regards to the short sword, right? So one thing that is really, really good is if I'm here, you know, let's say I did a cut.
Oh, you're doing a cut.
Yeah, like if I did a cut and you came off the line, you would place yourself here and you would secure the elbow, right?
Yeah.
And hold me here. And then this would be placed in a position here to let me understand that if I want to continue, this is going to be bad for me. If I want to just say, okay, you know what? I'll calm down. We can talk. I'm going to listen to you. I'm relaxed. Then I can take this position and you can let me just walk away from here, right? So this is where I say that learning the short sword teaches you how to close the distance, how to maintain that pressure, which I would say is very much like you would find in jiu-jitsu, making the body contact and just keeping them secure and just neutralizing the threat by having the weapon totally presented in a position that they have to recognize and say, okay, this is done. I've lost. I have to give it to the person.
So this is, if you came to strike at me, just to repeat that. So if I was here and,
Right.
you came with the strike,
right, if I came
I'm trying
in-
to drive all the way into here. in place.
Exactly.
And so I'm not actually going for the kill. I'm going for the control.
Some of them you would, right? Like there is one where you come here and you draw and you threaten at the throat.
Yeah.
There are also ones where it's more of not a, I don't want to say a chop like a hack, but more like coming in to shock the system.
Yeah, boom, like a crack.
Exactly.
And then place. Okay.
So there's a lot of different things. So you're slicing, you're holding the person, you're hitting them, and just threatening them. So.
And always moving as close as possible.
Yeah, always moving as close. There's a lot of positions where you'll find, like, if you go back to here, right? Just like how you're presented there with your knee just really close, some people will even get closer where they'll have the knee in behind. There you go, to take that, and you can control the hip. A lot of different things can happen there for the, well, bad for me, but good for you,
Yes.
right? So there's a lot of those that you'll find within the short sword set of Niten Ichi-ryū, Kenjitsu.
Okay, very interesting stuff. And then last but not least,
Two swords. What everybody wants.
yeah.
So in regards to the use of the two swords, Musashi Sensei always believed that you should be able to be proficient with whatever tool that you use. So with him using the two swords, it's more of utilizing this as a bait as well as a blocking tool, utilizing this to either stop or cut at your opponent, right?
Okay.
So like for a prime example, if a cut was to come in from this side, I would like block and then I can hit here, right? Or even more so, if that cut was to come in, I can block and I can thrust. Or if it was come in, I can parry, step, and I can do something else different, right? The use of your short sword is to maintain contact, in some situations to maintain control of the other weapon, maintain space, utilize your long sword to be able to threaten, thrust, or to cut.
So this becomes almost like the shield in a matter of speaking.
Yes.
And the arm to parry things.
Yes.
And then this becomes to the damaging.
That's right. As well as this can be used as a bait, right? So like in boxing or Muay Thai or whatever, sometimes people will feint with the jab.
Yes.
Right? To make the person want to attack their jab, and they could either loop, come around, or
I do that all the
fake
time.
the jab, boom, come with the cross. This is also very useful in regards to using this as like a lure to be like, all right, come and attack this, go for it.
Yeah, boom.
And then follow up with something else.
Do you keep, my instinct, just to be totally honest, is to keep this as the lead because this is my range. Do you sometimes stand with this as the lead to bait, like you said, to then cut?
Yes. Yes. So in regards to some of the forms, like in regards to the postures, which I can demonstrate, like you have your first initial posture where you're here just like this, threatening, right? So this is more of what's going to get your attention.
Yeah.
You're not too worried about this, but this is in the way and you're like, I don't like this. Another form that we have is you're here, this is threatened, this is all the way back, right? So this draws the attention for what you want to eliminate to be able to close the gap. There's also a posture here like this where it's just very open, totally baiting, but utilizing the short sword to be able to block and counter, as well as another one where here, this remains hidden, but this is just over to the side, kind of making it that it's very hard to want to come across here, maybe want to come to the other side, but then we can just shift it, change it, or switch the option that you want in regards to cutting. Then even same for here, right? This is luring you in that you want to cut. Then you could just move it out, challenge, do whatever.
What's interesting with a lot of the ways you're holding the blades is they're on a completely linear line. If I were to go to the camera, I can't tell the length of the blade and I can't really measure the distance. Even when you put it here, you put it totally straight. I don't have an idea of how long. In other words, if it was like this, I could see the tip. I kind of have an idea, but when you hold it and you kind of, neither one, I don't know if the camera is realizing this, look at the slight difference in angle from here to here in terms of understanding the blade length and the angle at which it's going to come at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even my depth perception changes because it's the same idea as a jab. If it's coming straight at you, you can't, all you're measuring is the size change.
That's right. That's right.
This is very cool stuff. One last question.
Yeah.
So kendo is, like we had said, highly popularized because of, I think, in part because of the sparring competition aspect of it.
Yes.
Does Kenjitsu have that element to it, or is it mostly forms and kind of organized movements?
There are some schools of Kenjitsu that do have, I'll say shiai or sparring. They will call it like Gekiken or anything like that. I do personally believe that if you have an opportunity to practice outside of the forms, it's good because it's reinforcing your posture, your understanding in regards to the distance and use of the weapon, how you can use it properly. I definitely do feel that is key. But there are a lot of schools that strictly just practice the forms. Our school in particular, we focus a lot on the forms and training the forms as much as possible. But fortunately, there is our current headmaster does believe that we should train as much as possible, practice the forms, but we should also train in other things so that we're not just doing the forms, right? So it's pretty much equivalent to, like a trainer saying, don't just go to the gym and deadlift. Do some squats sometimes, do a bench press, do something different so that you can be aware of what your body can do in different situations.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for this introduction to Kenjitsu. It was very interesting.
You're welcome. Thank you.